Thanks for your consideration. Excellent, very well. So here's a little agenda of what we're going to be talking about today. So first, we're going to start to talk a little about Nigeria, Nigeria's mining industry, Nigeria's wealth, mining opportunities, obstacles, and then I'll present Promine, and then the future of mining in Nigeria. So of course, as Mr. Nwafor said, at the end of the presentation, feel free to ask your questions, and we'll have an interactive session in the software as well. So a little bit about Nigeria. It has a population exceeding 200 million people. So it's one of the top 10 populations in the world, and the top population in Africa. So you can imagine how, just that is big enough for Nigerian people to be proud. Nigerians are also known to be very hardworking, and there are more than 250 ethnic groups. So you can imagine the culture and the amount of, value in the culture as well in there. I had the pleasure to actually visit Nigeria last year at the Nigerian conference in March with Mohammed Ghazal, who is in this meeting as well. And well, both our names are Mohammed, but we're not related, I promise. But we were impressed by how much, how, first of all, beautiful Nigeria is in terms of land, in terms of people, in terms of everything, the weather. We stayed in Port Harcourt, and we attended the conference, and we got the opportunity to speak with a lot of people there, and it was just a lot of fun for us to meet the Nigerian people and to experience that. I'm originally from Egypt, so I'm a bit familiar. Well, I'm very familiar with the African culture. However, I live in Canada, but I'm I'm always impressed by how different African cultures can be. Although we're one continent, but Africa is huge. So have, even here in Egypt, we have like many cultures, and I could imagine that the same thing happens in Nigeria as well. And where it's very impressive, honestly, to have this kind of ethnic groupings all over, not only in Nigeria, but all over the continent as well. I'm actually going to put a pointer here just to make sure I follow. Okay, great. Okay, so a little bit more about Nigeria. Nigeria has an abundance of resources, including oil and gas. The country holds the largest natural gas reserves on the continent, and Nigeria is also Africa's largest oil and gas producer. In Africa, Nigeria is the top economy, where Egypt is second. And as I explained, the amount of oil and gas that's produced from Nigeria can be essentially sufficient for Nigeria and other countries as well. So Nigeria is, first of all, a huge oil and gas producer. So a little bit of history of how Nigeria came to be the biggest oil and gas producer is that after gaining its independence in 1960, Nigeria became the global leader in columbite and tin. So those are two minerals. And after the 80s, when Nigeria started exploration, it put its focus more to oil and gas, because that was the like we say eye candy that was generating a lot of profit. However, the only problem was that Nigeria didn't pay as much attention to the non-oil mining sector, which went into decline, and the oil sector actually became the dominating industry, and the non-oil mining sector, so for example, gold, copper, iron, became dominated mostly by artisanal and small-scale miners. So just to put that in perspective, the oil industry just that contributes 7% to Nigeria's GDP, right? Although Nigeria has many minerals. The non-oil sector, so anything that's not oil in mining, contributes only to 0.4% to Nigeria's GDP from the mining sector. All right, so as we can see here, there's a huge difference between what oil contributes and what the non-oil sector contributes. Although Nigeria, in terms of wealth, it's very abundant from both sides, but the oil sector contributes way more than the non-oil part of the mining industry. So in the past years, the government actually put a lot of effort to establish official, how we call it, well, institutions or political, sorry, not political, but basically establishments that will help revive the mining industry. So we have the Nigeria Minerals and Mining Act, which we refer to as the NMMA, and that was established by the government in order to, consolidate the non-oil mining sector, and in an attempt to revive it as well. And the NMMA established the Solids Mineral Development Fund, which will basically help expand the mining sector. And in addition to that as well, the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development announced that they were also establishing another act which would basically enable it to raise more funding from the private sector. So these things tell you that the government is doing its best, and is putting a lot of effort into establishing a viable mining sector from the point of view, of course, from foreign investors, and that will essentially help revive the mining sector. But this is not an overnight result. Like, we need to first of all, it requires a lot of patience. Basically, when you're trying to revive something at an international level, it needs a lot of time and a lot of effort, and it's not just a one-day thing, right? So these things tell you that Nigeria is on the right track, and that the government, it's pulling efforts. But however, although there's a lot of work needed, but so far it's doing pretty well. So in terms of active mineral titles, the Nigerian Mining Cadastral Office, which is basically responsible for the mining titles and licenses, noted that there are 6,376 active mineral titles as of 2022. So that was last year. I could imagine that there's more right now, but just last year there were over 6,000 active mineral titles. And the licenses basically range from exploration to small-scale mining. And the goal for the federal government is to increase its GDP from the mining sector from 0.4, as we saw before, that's from the non-oil mining part, to 3% by 2025. So although that small percentage, it seems small, but it's actually not. To increase your GDP just by 1%, I'm sure there are a lot of finance people here in this meeting and could tell us like how big that would be. So to increase something from lower than 1% to 3%, it takes a lot of effort, but it's going to be extremely well for the Nigerian nation, right? And although this is very ambitious, it is possible, given that Nigeria's vast untapped mineral resources are still there, right? So Nigeria is full of minerals and oil. However, more effort is needed to really achieve that goal from 0.4% to 3% by 2025. So just a small development, and this is just a small example of a development that happened, which basically includes the Kano Gold Souk, which is located in the Kano state. And basically, the purpose of this project is to have the artisanal small-scale miners bring their gold to a market where they can exchange their product. And in this way, they can commercialize gold from artisanal small-scale miners in a legal, safe way. And the project is projected to be fully operational by 2023. So this is in progress right now. All right, so Nigeria's wealth. So before I even talk about Nigeria's wealth, I just want to say that no other country is like Nigeria when it comes to wealth. Nigeria is by far, and I haven't seen this before in any other country, with Nigeria is probably the only country where it is very rich in oil and in minerals as well. You can talk about possibly any mineral and you will find it in Nigeria. And this is something that's extremely rare. I haven't done my full research. I haven't researched every single country, but I can tell you that especially where, some countries are probably known for their gas, other countries for oil, other countries for their gold or copper or iron. Nigeria has everything. So it actually prides itself with 44 minerals that are available. Not only are they deep, but they're close to the surface, which is a huge advantage because it means that Nigeria doesn't need to invest in underground mining. It can simply, do surface mining, which is way cheaper than underground mining, right? So you should, like, any Nigerian should be proud, I don't know how else to say it, but you're like Nigeria in terms of wealth, it's extremely, extremely rich and has the potential to essentially be one of the global leaders in mining. And this is without any hesitation. I can definitely say that Nigeria can be that. So in 2015, the federal government, actually through the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, identified 7 strategic minerals for priority development in a attempt to revive the mining sector and to unlock its potential and to diversify the economy away from crude oil. So these 7 strategic minerals include lead and zinc, limestone, barite, bitumen, coal, gold, and ore. And just to give you a small example of how much there is from each one of these minerals. So it's estimated that Nigeria has 3 billion tons of coal, 3 billion tons of iron ore, 10 million tons of lead and zinc, 42 billion tons of bitumen, and 600,000 tons of gold. So, like, it's incredible just to even mention these numbers, because if really Nigeria succeeds in reviving its mining industry, all the other countries will be jealous. Like, it's as simple as that, like, when you have this much resources, you can really provide a very good life for every Nigerian, and to have equality and to have people look up to you, because, as I said, Nigeria is extremely rich. And coal mining has a long history in Nigeria and remains a significant sector as well. I have some notes down. The country's essentially the main coal reserves are in the sorry if I'm not pronouncing this right, Enugu, Benue, and Kogi states, and these are the states that are essentially the biggest states in coal. And not only like these 7 strategic minerals are not only the minerals, as I said, there are 44. So you have other things like salt, talc, gemstones, you name it, right? Like possibly any mineral that you can think of, Nigeria has it and is needed internationally as well. Very well. So mining opportunities. So although there is still a lot of opportunity, Nigeria's already doing a lot of good work. So it's developing its revenue generation and accountability. It's developing its by mapping more reliable geoscience data. It's starting to have more control over illegal mining. Global visibility as well. We see Nigeria in a lot of the international conferences right now. Just last year, well, It was this year actually when I went to PDAC. That happens every year in Toronto in Canada, and Nigeria was there, and I think they go to the South African conference as well. So the ministry, is doing a lot of good work into putting Nigeria on the map, and it's doing a lot of good job in terms of gender inclusivity as well. So being equal in terms of human rights is very, very important, because a man and a woman, by the end of the day, it's the work that counts and not your gender, right? It's that's how it should be. All right, so when it comes to lithium, Nigeria is abundant as well, and we know that lithium nowadays is huge in demand because of the all the electric vehicles that are being implemented right now. So lithium is actually one of the resources that if a country has, then it's considered lucky, and Nigeria is one of those countries. And it's not only does it have lithium, but Nigeria is abundant in terms of lithium. So just to give you an idea, the mineral lithium is actually used worldwide in rechargeable batteries, in appliances, including electric vehicles, like I said. And the interesting part about lithium in Nigeria is that when you find the lithium oxide, which is the content extracted from the ore from mining, it has a grade of 1 to 13% from Nigeria, while the global average, so if you go to any other country, the average is only 0.4%, right? So Nigeria is, not only does it have lithium, but it's also abundant in lithium, and not only abundant in lithium, but it's also rich in lithium. So there are extremely good opportunities there in boosting the economy and creating many, many jobs. And the workforce is there. Nigeria has the biggest population in Africa, over 200 million people. So in terms of hardworking people, are already there. We just need to create the opportunities and implement the infrastructure. Very well. So everything I just talked about, it comes to summarize that Nigeria's mining industry presents attractive investment opportunities for local and international investors. And so far, the government has been actively promoting the sector and offering incentives to attract investments, including tax incentives, access to financing, and streamlined licensing procedures. So it's becoming easier and easier for foreign investors to come to Nigeria, and the government is already working on that, and there's a big opportunity in this sector. So in terms of obstacles, although, as I explained a lot before, the government is already doing a lot when it comes to mining. However, they should put in place appropriate policies to guard against the unpleasant side effects of the mining and mineral industry, right? Because when I've seen a lot of people from North America, from South America, from Europe, from Africa. And when it comes to foreign investment, the first thing that a foreign investor would look at is safety, right? A foreign investor would never, ever, ever invest in something that's not safe, first of all, because there's no point of doing that, right? It's almost like selling a broken product. Nobody's going to buy it. What we need to focus on, and by we, I mean Nigeria. Sorry, I'm not Nigerian, but I said we. But what Nigeria needs to focus on is the safe side of mining. Because let's give an example. So let's say that we started developing a lot of lithium mines, and they're not safe. That means that these mines have a high tendency to result in air pollution, land degradation, disruption of the ecosystem, and other health risks to the host communities of the miners. So just that is not okay, because nobody's going to invest. So what the government should do is invest its money into infrastructure and safety procedures. And by safety procedures, I mean extreme safety procedures, especially in mining. And just to give you an example, in Canada, for example, let's say you go to a mine, the first thing they're going to hear is safety. What to do in case of a fire, what to do in case of this. How do you even start a car? When you start a car in a Canadian mining company, there are you have just 1-page list of what to do before starting a car. Let's say you're going to drive a pickup in the mine. You don't just start the pickup and go. You need to check tires, check the oil, make sure that your hunk is working properly. Make sure there aren't any leaks. Make sure that your flag is up straight. So that range from very, very small safety procedures to like extreme safety procedures should be put in place. And the North American mining industry should serve an example as an example when it comes to safety. If Nigeria put those policies and start reviving the mining sector with what they have, trust me, Nigeria is going to become one of the richest one of the richest countries in the whole world. So yeah, as I explained, this is the example we just gave for the lithium deposits, and the NMMA should also, provide a legal framework, and more measures need to be taken. This is what we need: more policies, more measures, and things that will actually make mines safe. So another example of an obstacle is that currently 80% of gold mining is conducted by artisanal small-scale mining. I'm not saying that artisanal small-scale mining is wrong, but when a foreign investor would look at it, they would see that it's not safe, hence it is wrong, right? But personally, I find, every country should have the right to say how we're going to mine, how we're going to do things. But when you say something like that, you need to take two things into consideration: the people and the environment. The safety of the people should be number one in any case, right? And especially when you're trying to find foreign investors, this is what you need to demonstrate. If you can demonstrate safety, already 50% of your job is done. As of 2020, this is a bit of an old data, but just to give you an example, Thor Explorations was the only large-scale gold mining operation with an annual capacity of about 85,000 ounces. And currently in Nigeria, the Sigilola Resources Operating Limited, which is the name of the company, they play a huge role in Nigeria's gold production, and more companies should follow its path. Why? Because of safety. I'm going to repeat it again, but trust me, this is what the number one thing that foreign investors would look at. All right, so applicable technologies. So other than safety, we're going to dive in a little bit more into the technical side of technology. So the need for geomapping to begin exploration. So when you present something to an investor, you need to show them a proof, right? You need to show them that you can't only say that, hey, Nigeria is rich in XYZ mineral and you should come invest. You should investors work with numbers and with pictures, with graphs. So when you invest in geomapping technology, which would actually map the whole Nigerian land surface and show you the attractive mineral locations, then this is a good start. So geomapping, I find personally, is very needed in Nigeria at the moment. And in the second point here, I wrote give to receive concept, which means that in order to, when you start a company, you need to invest money, and no matter how small or big it is. And this is the same concept that applies to the mining sector in Nigeria. We need to invest in infrastructure. We need to invest in software. We need to invest in technology. We need to invest in all of these things in order to see a return on this investment. But to expect something to get to you without doing any work, then this is where a challenge arises, because you can't really um, uh, reap what you sowed without reaping in the first place, right? So this is how you should think of it. You need to invest, you need to spend money on software, you need to spend money on infrastructure, on data collection, on safety, on all these measures, and then to start production, then to see the return on this. And not only you will see a return, but you will have a country full of happy people and a people living a good life. So this is the third point here that I was talking about, which is to invest in software, because software is only important in geomapping here, as I explained in the first point, but it's needed in planning. You can't really go and dig somewhere without any plan. You can't just dig and whatever you find, you find. No, if you look at the example of European and North American companies, they invest hugely in software because they need to perform design, mine modeling, planning, scheduling, and all these things that will help you get to your mineral reserves and to do it properly. And this is the same concept applies in anything. When you have a plan, you attempt that plan and then you correct it, and then you plan again, and then you plan again, and this is how things should be. You should plan, perform the design, and then go and mine. So and this is how internationally it is done. And of course, proper training on safety measures to attract investors. This is needed very, very much. So in order to apply and make sure that these safety measures are taken seriously, you need proper training for your employees and for everyone else who's involved in companies. Sorry, I'm just going to take a sip of water. So what does Nigeria need? Talked about infrastructure development, data collection, adoption of cybersecurity measures, of course, because when an investor looks at a mine, they also want to make sure that this mine is confidential in terms of information and data collection. So you need to have proper measures taken to preserve your data collection and to prevent from cyber attacks, and of course, responsible mining practices. And these things are needed in order for value addition and to unlock the industry's potential fully. So yeah, this is basically the technology summary we can this is how it summarizes to. All right, so a little bit about Promine. As Mr. Mafar explained in the beginning, we are a software company created in 1993. The software is being developed in Quebec and was always being developed in Quebec, actually. And we are very, very popular in the Americas. As you can see here, we serve over 90 mine sites in more than 12 countries. We have a strong presence in North, Central, and South America, and our plan is to expand to Asia, Europe, and Africa. And this is the goal of today: is to, promote what we stand for and what we think the Nigeria's mining industry potential is. Our commercial alliances, so work with different companies to enhance our deliverability in terms of software and in terms of commercializing it as well. So BricsCAD and AutoCAD are actually the two companies in which Promine is compatible with. So when you have the AutoCAD interface, Promine will serve as an extension and will provide you functions specific to the mining industry. And why do we integrate with AutoCAD? Because it's very, very easy to learn and use, and it's perfect for small scale companies to get started with. So as Nigeria is, still reviving the mining sector, and they need something that's quick and easy to learn and use, then Promine is the perfect solution for that. It can provide you well, I will show you later what we do in it, but it can provide you all the basics that you need in order to perform planning, design, scheduling, exploration, geomapping, and all these things in AutoCAD or BricsCAD. Mo Commerce Nigeria Limited is the company that is helping us promote our services in Nigeria. And Mohammed Ghazal, who's also in this meeting, is the founder of this company. And as I explained in the beginning, we had the pleasure to visit Nigeria last year, representing both Mo Commerce Nigeria Limited and Promine. Leica Geosystems, we integrate with their instruments in order to perform real-time surveying. So a lot of times in underground mining, we have, for example, it's very time-consuming to survey a part of your underground mine, go up the shaft, go to your office, upload the memory card, and go back and then upload all the data and do your mine modeling. However, using Promine Live Survey, which is a category of Promine, allows you to do that underground without having to move. So everything will be recorded in real time, and you can model everything in real time as well. So as I explained, our products essentially are composed of more than 500 functions for the mining industry, and we offer modules for project management, modeling, engineering, surveying, geology, and point clouds as well. So here are some examples of the 3D planning design, excuse me, some of our modules in Promine, which includes 3D planning and design. So with this module, for example, you can model developments very easily. You can visualize your underground workings clearly, which will allow you to take decisions easily on the design and to see if we have to adjust it or not. And you can compute volumes and tonnages in seconds. We also, oh, I skipped one here. Oh yeah. We also have a module for mine scheduling. So this uses the CAD's blocks feature to create schedules. So as you can see here, every mining block here is actually a block from AutoCAD that displays information. And then you can take all of this information and create a Gantt chart or a cost chart. We also have modules for drill and blast. So you can create drill and blast essentially designs vertically or horizontally, and you can generate reports as well. We have a module for surveying, where you can automate importation tasks. So the surveyor, basically, as soon as they have the data available, they can upload it to Promine and start to model right away, and they can assign points automatically to layers in order to differentiate between each one of them easily. 3D modeling. So this is where you can model pretty much anything you would like. So it can range from underground drifts, geological ore bodies, surface benches, etc. And you can compute volumes easily as well. Live surveying, and this is what I was talking to you about here. So this is compatible with a Leica instrument, where you can connect with a Microsoft tablet via Bluetooth. And as soon as you install the instrument, you can see the points collected in real time. Drawing management, and this is basically one of the best features of Promine here, which basically allows you to work in a team. So in any mining group or any mining company, you have teams, and these teams need to work together. So what Promine offers is basically a drawing management tool where you can create a convention, which is, you can think of it as a cabinet online. And this convention can be accessed by many users and many departments, and you can restrict and have access to certain layers, and you can have people working on the same drawing as well at the same time without overwriting. So this is, as a small analogy, we can compare this to, for example, a Google Sheet where you have multiple people editing the same document at once. The same concept applies to Promine. Next slide. There you go. So why Promine? Essentially, you have a user-friendly software that's easy to learn and use. You can benefit from customized developments for your operation, because we know that each mining company works differently, although they can be using the same mining method. However, each mining company has their own way of working. You get updates throughout the whole year, which includes new features and improvements. You can use the client portal to get resources and tips. You only pay for the modules you wish to use. So this is huge in terms of cost savings, because you don't have to purchase the whole software. You only purchase the parts where you're interested to make sure you get your the best value for your money. And one license can be used by 5 users. So this will, because we know that companies work in teams, and it doesn't make sense that one license is only for one user, especially for a mining software. And so this is why one license can be used by 5 users, up to 5 users. Very well. So in terms of the future of mining in Nigeria, so I personally think that the expansion of gold and lithium could make the sector an increasingly valuable part of the Nigerian economy, as it basically seeks to diversify away from hydrocarbons, which is oil and gas. However, reinvesting Nigeria's new wealth into infrastructure development will be crucial, given that mining is generally an electricity intensive industry requiring modern equipment and reliable transport and logistics, safety measurements, and data collection, and much more. So the workforce is already available. Nigerians are very hard working, and they are eager to develop their country. And when you have this type of people with this type of wealth, with, like, it doesn't, how can I say this? It doesn't snow in Nigeria like it does in Canada. When it snows in Canada in the mining sector, and when on the mining site, you to invest a lot of money just to get the snow removed, and it's very, very hard sometimes when you have a snowstorm. So if we look at that example, Nigeria does not have that. Or does it really snow in Nigeria? I don't know now. I don't think it does. Sorry if I what am I saying? No, it does not. No. So yeah, the fact that Nigeria is at an advantage, it also has the minerals available close to the surface. As I said, it has people eager to work. I think the future of mining in Nigeria can be extremely well, and it can surpass the 3% GDP goal by a lot if done properly. However, as I explained, more modern infrastructure and equipment, data collection processes, and logistics need to be put in place, and this is very, very important. The people and the government and everyone should know that investing in these things will yield a much bigger investment, right? And this is what you need to attract foreign investors. And people need to know the potential of Nigeria if illegal mining activities decrease. So if you put in place the proper infrastructure for people and educate them and give them the proper training, you will have way better lives for those people. Because when someone goes for illegal mining, of course, I saw documentaries before, and unfortunately some people kind of can't afford to eat, and they're forced to go perform illegal. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that, these people do it because they have to do it. It's not like they're offered a much better job and they say, no, I want to do illegal mining. No, they do it because they have to. And the government really put in place the proper infrastructure for these people to work. Not only will they have an economy boost, but they will also have the people having good lives. And as I explained before, first, to address these challenges and create a conducive environment for sustainable mining operations will give Nigeria a prominent place on the global mining map. And this will definitely attract foreign investors. And once you have this infrastructure, this new mining sector put in place, Nigeria should not just export its minerals, but they should develop their own factories that can produce goods that be sold, right? Because when you have this type of wealth, you need to do something with it that could benefit Nigeria and the external countries as well. And by increasing its production, this will, of course, attract foreign investors as well. And here are some references to all the data I just presented. And thank you very much for listening, and I appreciate all your attentiveness, and thanks again. Do we have any questions?
Okay, Mohammed, can you hear me? Thank you for that wonderful presentation. I think, okay, can you pull down your presentation right now?
Yes, no problem,
okay.
Yes.
So we can maybe go to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much. I think I'll still give you another opportunity to possibly maybe just in a minute or two share some the overview or interface of the application. If there's any model that is actually done, just want to see a live windows of that shown to our participants. Before we go to our participants for maybe question, if you have any question, please raise your hand. I will actually call you in for that. But before that, I have some couple of questions need to ask. So you can actually note them. Then you react to that before we get some people that are actually raising their hands. I'm seeing some hands up here. You are there with me, right? Mohammed, you can hear me? Can you hear me? Mohammed, can you hear me? Okay, let me see. Is he gone out? Mohammed, can you hear me? I think we've lost him. Wow. What? Okay. Unmute yourself.
Yes, I can hear you now. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
I wasn't,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay. Now the first thing, let me just go quickly. Now when you are actually, once again, thank you for that presentation. You've done so much on that, and at least you are within the time limits. First of all, you talked about the commercial alliances with the application. And I heard you mention AutoCAD and BricsCAD. Though I'm not sure we're actually conversant with BricsCAD, but some other people might, but I'm not actually conversant with that. But my major thing there is, the question there is, what of GIX application like the one that is actually very popular, the S3 GIX, is it actually supported by the application? That is one. And I wanted to throw more light by another thing you talked about, point cloud. Is it a kind of a storage services? I wanted to please say something more on that point clouds services. And again, I saw you didn't actually talk about surface mining tools. Is the application only for underground mine design? And also is the application for both stratified minerals and also for vein type mineral. So I want you to also clarify on that. Another one is, does the application have function for prospectivity model? Most of us that are geologists are actually much interested with applications that actually has to do with some prospectivity model, in the sense that you can actually prospect, you can actually, like the ones I've actually used, there are some ways you can prospect with it, and you can have your way around some, trying to kind of make where minerals are using some available information. So that would also be fine. You can look at that. Then another thing is the costing. The costing of the models, as in the application, is actually based on the models, each model you are interested. If I'm interested in a modeling that has to do with geological models, I'm not interested in maybe mine design or something. Is it the costing, is it based on that? I want to know how your costing is in terms of licensing. And also the licensing, is it life license, or does it have a duration for expiration? You know, let's clarify that. Then another one is, okay, your support in terms of technical and training support. How does it work when someone actually is licensed for these applications? So I want you to actually, let me just stop here so you can talk on all those ones I've just mentioned.
Yes, no problem. Yes. So just to, could you remind me, sorry, the first question again, what was it? What was that again? The first one?
I said the first question is your commercial alliances. You made mention of AutoCAD and
yes,
the BricsCAD. What of S3GIS? Is it supported? Because that's one
yes.
of the popular GIS applications. Yes.
So we don't currently work directly with other mining software. However, AutoCAD is a CAD platform in which Promine will be installed and work. So although you can import files from one software to another, but because Promine is an extension only to AutoCAD, then this is the only CAD platform that will be used. BricsCAD is very similar to AutoCAD. It's actually AutoCAD is American, BricsCAD is European. BricsCAD is a little bit cheaper and a little bit more powerful, but those two CAD platforms are essentially the basis of drawing in 2D or 3D. And then Promine comes as an extension which offers you specific modules for mining and geology. And also to answer your next question, which is I've mentioned underground. Oh yeah, for point clouds, this is actually an application that we are currently working on. It's a web application that's very secure and robust, and it basically allows you to import your scans of point clouds after you perform the scanning, of course, and you can visualize your point clouds in a web application, and you can compute the tonnages and volumes as well.
Okay, surface mine function.
Yes, correct. I've talked about underground because Promine is mainly focused on underground mining design. However, it also applies for surface mining, especially for prospecting and exploration. So in prospecting and exploration, the first step usually is importing your holes into software and then annotating your holes, creating composites, creating block models, creating an implicit model, creating a 3D model. All that you can do with Promine, yes. If it's underground or surface, it doesn't matter. In both cases, you can do it. However, the only requirement we ask is for you to have AutoCAD or BricsCAD, and then you can basically buy the Promine extensions and add them to your software. I believe, yeah, so all licenses include maintenance, support, and updates. So when you purchase a license, you automatically get support with it. And I would say an average license would cost, because you can pick and choose the modules that you're interested in. So someone might be interested in geology, someone might be interested in mine planning, someone might be interested only in 3D modeling. But if you want a complete package for geological exploration, I would say that the average cost of this software is between 15,000 USD and between 15 and 20,000 USD per year for 5 users, and that's per year. Okay. So I believe I answered all the questions, right?
Okay, that's it. Before let's go to the audience, then I wanted to be possibly prepare maybe to show some interface before we finish. Okay, right now we have Austin Okonkwo, Austin and Olushola, if I'm correct. Sorry, I didn't get very well. So, and we have Tayo Ajani, who else here? I have 3 hands up. Okay, I'll first of all, ladies first. Ladies first. Okay. You can go on.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. You're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. I'm Olushola Olani.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mohammed, for that nice presentation. My interest is in the minerals discovered and the mine's life. I mean the operational lifespan plus the economic longevity. When you talk of 3D, we are talking of you will use latitude, longitude, and the height. Is it possible with this software to use time? That's the 4th dimension. So that when we know how long the discovered mineral will last for, and then be able to maybe calculate the economic longevity. That's my question.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, very good question. Thank you. So I, as a mining engineer, I believe that determining the life of mine can be very, very, very hard. Especially that nowadays we live in an economy where prices change almost every day, right? It's like someone trying to estimate how much the next Apple stock will be, something like that. It's very hard, and most of the time it's not right. And it's although people like mine still do it, and I do agree with you. Yes, it's very important to at least have a rough idea, but you can't say that this mine will essentially have an exact time of 15 years and 2 days. It wouldn't work that way. But yes, we do offer essentially a plugin called SOT, which is a mine optimization tool where you can basically upload all your mine information, and you run models and financial models that would tell you the life of mine, and based on the like cost for equipment, your tonnages, your grades, your ore body, and all these data, and the software is able to predict the estimated life of mine. I hope this answers your question.
Okay. I think Mohammed, I'll also contribute to that. I think the life of mine or any mine is actually essentially dependent on some important factors, which I think, software is mainly of garbage in, garbage out, is what you input and your outputs. So I believe it's how close you are to your reserve. It depends on the classification or the class of
Correct, yeah.
reserve you're able to calculate. That is how close. The closer you are to probable to your reserve, the closer you are to understanding how well or how long your mine will actually last. Another
Correct,
interesting
yes.
factor is the production, your scheduling, which application can actually help you do. When I was in Zuma, we did about 10 years schedule. So we're able to do a kind of scheduling based on the production, So production is another aspect of it. How much are you going to be doing per time? An interesting thing. But apart from this, another thing is economic stability. If the economy is not stable, it can result in price fluctuations, which is very important. So I think these are some of the major factors that actually determine, how long your mine can actually last. When it comes to the, I think the most important thing here is what you have in the ground, which is your reserve. How close you are to measuring them. How close you are to measuring them. If you have 100 tons and you are close to measuring 80, which is 80%, you are close to the time. You'll be able to know how you can finish it if you plan your production very well.
True,
unless
yes.
there are some other things that is beyond, that can come up that will stop your production and all that, or can, like what is happening now. Nobody knew the lithium production now and the boom in lithium. Nobody never You know, it wasn't like this in the past 10 years or even last 5 years.
Yes.
But the production now has actually increased. The Australians, everybody, Zimbabweans, everybody is trying to increase their usual production to see how it can come up because of the demand, increase in demand. So it's usual. So I think that's my contribution to that. Thank you. I think who is there? Okay, Austin Okonkwo, please can we have your question? Let's unmute you. Okay, you can talk now. Please unmute yourself. Austin, unmute yourself and talk. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much, Mohammed, for the lecture.
You're most welcome.
I think you exposed a lot of things about the Nigerian mining industry. Yeah, I was particularly impressed when you talked about data gathering in terms of geomapping, because I'm a geoscientist, and the new mining potential area, that's the lithium boom, okay, which is currently the in thing now, and about the Promine software. So my take on the data gathering in terms of geomapping, because we currently in this country we know the state of things in terms of insecurity, which has actually hampered significantly in the area of data gathering in terms of geomapping, because that area is still beating us hard, because you cannot go to the field now and feel comfortably gathering information. Sometimes you have to go with security for you to get what you want, and that on each side is an additional cost if you have to, you know. So, but by God's grace, we'll see how we pull through that. We're still managing what we have and all that. So thank you so much. Then my question is the Promine software, because you talked about the discussion is mostly maybe for people who are using it for business, who have mines and all that. I don't know if there is a window for an academic license for those who are in the academics. Maybe I want to use it for one or two projects in the academics. I don't know if there is a window for that. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed, we do offer academic licenses, and the only requirement we ask for is for the university to teaching mining or geology, and for the university to implement basically one of the mining courses, Promine. So for example, if you're teaching underground mining, then you can use Promine as a method to teach that. And as soon as we write a contract, then we're going to offer you the academic license for free for you and the professors, and the students are also eligible to receive it. So if you're interested, yeah, no problem. Contact us, and I'll be happy to, tell you more details.
Okay. Mohammed, I think that is very important for us. Very, very important. I think Austin, thank you for that, because the issue here is I think is very important. So I want us to actually explore that end. A lot of our universities, we have a lot of universities that are into teaching of geosciences. So I think it's something we need to explore too, because that gives avenue. I don't think we have something like that working on, but if we should have it, it will be a very great avenue for Promine. Because if students and universities understand it and they start from if you have academic licenses and all that. As a university, they can actually, the cost and everything will be lowered based on, because it's actually for learning and training. And I think it will go a long way for us too. So I think it's something the Promine need to actually look into, especially when it comes to costing.
Yeah, of course, it's very important for students to be equipped with the right tools before they graduate, and to because that is very essential in any mining company. So yeah, I do agree with you, Mr. Nofar.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to seeing another. Okay, Tayo Ajani, please can you come up with your question, please?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mohammed, for your presentation. Thank you to Gideon, as always, for facilitating this platform, which has become very, very helpful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm an academician, I'm a researcher, but like Gideon knows, I'm also an entrepreneur with a few years experience on the field. In view of what you talked about in your presentation, the current reality in Nigeria, which might not be too different from a very vast majority of African setting. Now, my own area of interest is in terms of reserve estimate quantification. That's a major issue that I find out in my few years on the field. I mean, some reserves are just not economical, even at the small scale, because basically what we have operating mostly in Nigeria, like you said, not just for gold, but outside Segilola and maybe one or two other projects, we had a few other projects before that have become moribund, government projects, like a few things like the Berai thing before, a government project as another, but all of those are moribund. So in the current reality on the ground is that most are small, maybe a few of medium, but mostly small scale. So I want you to shed light more on a very important aspect to investment, entrepreneurship with our limited resources, with the issue of financing in our setting. For now, mining is still let me put it, is still not very, very, very attractive to the financing sector, mostly because of the visibility crisis, which a few studies have pointed out. I mean, it's a general thing when you have an environment that is a small scale, it's not dominated. So what are the possibilities in terms of resource reserve quantification, reserve estimate, so that I can, like you mentioned, which I find helpful too. I mean, if five participants can access it, so we can spread it. Yeah, but what are we spreading? What are the possibilities? What's the level of accuracy? So you know what, because that becomes, even if you want to access foreign investment, that is a core issue, the reserve estimate. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. You've brought up a very, very good point, and that's a very how would I say this? It's very worrying too. However, everything starts small. You can't build a tower in a few days. Everything must develop a foundation first, and then you start small and you take off and the more you take off, the easier it becomes. So I think what Nigeria is missing right now is the foundation, right? They're missing Nigeria, although it's very, very rich, it can always start with small scale. And this is why I'm introducing Promine, is because Promine is very good in these for this small scale mining and exploration part for Nigeria. If you have, even just a few data available from a mining lease on a land, and you use Promine software to quickly assess reserves and to estimate the resources and to develop a model to show the investors and all that, although it might be small, but I think everyone understands that this is not something like the UK, where they have the proper infrastructure where they can basically invest a lot of money in technology and all that, people won't say, oh no, you don't, your methodology is not like other countries, so I won't invest. No, like I think many people are considerate of the fact that Nigeria's level of technology is not the best. However, if we start, if again, I'm saying we as if I'm not, as if I'm Nigerian, sorry about that. But if Nigeria invests even in a very small, uses a very small budget to invest in technology, and uses that to show investors what they have, I think that's a start, because you are going to get feedback, and then you're going to go back, you're going to do more work, and step by step, you're going to reach a level where you clearly understand what the investor wants, and then you can take off from that point. But I do agree that the first step is always hard. The first step is the hardest, and this is where we need to put most effort, but this is what will pave the path for Nigeria. I hope I answered your comment by that question. Mr. Nofar, I think you're muted. I think you're still muted, Mr. Nofar. I'm not sure if you're. Is it only muted for me, or does everyone else not hear?
But I think others, I'm not hearing any other person. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Nofar, I think your mic is still muted.
Hello.
Hmm. I think trying to fix his mic problem. Oh yeah,
Okay.
there you
Can you
go.
talk
I can
now?
hear you very well.
Yes,
Ah,
now we
Yeah,
can
I
hear you.
can hear
Yes.
you.
Okay, madam, you can talk now.
Yes.
hello, ma.
Ma, can
Are
you
you
talk?
calling me? Is it me or who?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Madam, I saw iPhone. I don't
I
even know.
didn't hear you. Are you calling me or
Okay.
who?
That's okay. You can talk. You can talk. I was calling
Who?
Dr. Salau. You can talk.
iPhone, Madam
iPhone. Yes, I'm seeing iPhone. I don't know the name, so that's why I'm confused.
Okay, I'm Honorable Engineer Adeyemi, Women
Okay,
in Mining
madam.
National President.
Okay, ma'am.
It's nice having had you, Mr. Mohammed.
Very nice to
You're
meet you. Thank you.
welcome. Are you there, ma'am?
Estimates. In terms of resource estimates, knowing that Africa, most African countries, especially Nigeria, where you are, whom audience you are talking to right now, is just coming up on board. The issue is that for effective resource estimates, this software must have a kind of interface with what Africa is trying to do currently. which is AMREC. AMREC is simply African Mineral Energy Resource Classification and Management System. And when you look at it, you know you will have the E, F, and G axis. That is the 3 axes relatively to what you do, where the E is the economic and social viability, the F is the field project status and feasibility, and the G, the geological knowledge. So you are looking at the F components mainly, where you are looking at field project status and feasibility. So I believe that the app, that is Promine app, you understand, if effectively deployed, you understand, should be able to work in consonance with whatever the AMREC system is. You understand, for effective utilization and resource estimates. Then that way, what is now left that is fluctuating, which is what Madam asked, in terms of costing, you understand, the X component now can always be influenced by whatever, whether in terms of inflation or in terms of minerals that come up, because mineral value changes. Before, we were dumping lithium as waste, just like Gideon said. But today, lithium suddenly become money. So what is a low value mineral before can suddenly depend on science breakthrough and technology, can suddenly become a major thing. So that X factor, you understand, is dependent, but the critical components you want to get out must always interface, you understand, with what we do. So why I raise this up is that while trying to do training, AMV, that is AMDC, literally it's going to control the African continent. The heads of states have agreed on that. So whatever we are doing must interface with what is coming out from the continent right now, which is the AMREC. So AMREC, your software must be able to, you understand, do what we call testing, which has been done, you understand, with AMREC. So your software must be able to interface fully, you understand, with this one. And then now let's be able to see case studies where results, you understand, will come out, because this has been tested in Uganda and then even in Nigeria, in Ghana, you understand. So yourself, the viability and the success of whatever we're able to get with our small scale mines, they are using this software and the AMREC, then we go a long way, you understand, in promoting this software in African continents. Thank you. And in Nigeria especially.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam. I think, Mohammed, you can hear us, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Can you please, your response
Yes.
on our comments?
Yes. Sorry, I'm not sure if there was a specific question or was that a comment?
Okay. Now, I think
it is like a comment, not necessarily a question.
Yes, that's right. Yes. I think that you, Mr. Nafar, I think you're muted again. Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
You see what she's trying to say here, I think, which is very important to us as well. We need a kind of a, especially in Nigeria, because a lot of people have been posting now the case studies of this actually being used here. Is there anywhere there could be a kind of a pilot testing, you know, to understand that this actually can work for us? I think, let me see one of the, if I'm able to see one of the comments here from the charts. I think I have some. Okay, look at this from Joy Chiamaka here. He said, is it possible to do a pilot project in Nigeria using a particular license as a pilot, a kind of, it will help other license holders to see the value in a relatable way. You understand?
Yes.
So we want to actually see possibility of this actually working for us. We can say, okay, this is your pilot project or a scheme in Nigeria. We are trying to do this with this particular person and all that, so that we can actually relate that this is actually working for us and all that. That's the kind of, I think, is a very good contribution from our own part. And someone also actually sent in such question? That is actually what I think you need to respond to.
Yes, so I think that when we talk about a project, it encompasses many, many things, and software is only 10% of a mining project. As I explained in my presentation, I think that, or actually, I believe that the most important part of reviving the mining sector in Nigeria is establishing a system, a process where you can do things. Because right now, I believe that although not all mining, not all companies work in Nigeria in that way. But I'm saying that there are a lot of companies, especially in mining, that just go on field and do prospecting by hand, and whatever they find, And this is, I think, where the challenge is, because when you do a project in that way without proper planning, without proper infrastructure, then it won't work, unfortunately. And this is what investors look at. They want to see a system or a plan, or even if it's just like a Word document that you can draft, like you write your plan, you do an assessment, you write what everything that you possibly know about a mining land where where you think it's feasible to mine. I think this is the first step. However, if you try to look for investment right away without doing the proper plan and design, without doing the actual work, and this is why I was talking about the concept of give and receive, this unfortunately will not work. And we've seen that in the past. Actually, here in North America, this concept is applied very, very well, not only in mine, but in any company. If you don't have a proper plan, you're automatically disregarded from the investor's point of view, because they look at you and you don't know much about the project. You don't know what you need. You just want money, and they don't want to give their money to someone who won't know what to do with it, right? So I think a pilot project, yes, in terms of software, we do offer trial licenses that can possibly go up for a month. But if you get this license, what will you do with it? If you don't have the proper data, the proper infrastructure, the proper safety measures, and all these things, then and I'm saying this because I want to help you. Really, I'm not saying this because I feel like something wrong is being here, but I really want to help you in the best way I can. And I'm telling you from an investor point of view, what they want to see is a plan in front of them, what the company is about, their goals, missions, a feasibility study, and all these things that really will make someone go, wow, this is something that I want to invest in. This is the first step, I believe.
Okay, I think that's good. So at least we can, if we have a company who is at the stage of feasibility studies, we can approach Promine. Is that what they're saying?
Sorry, could you say that again?
I said, if we have companies that are actually at feasibility studies stage, we can actually approach Promine.
Of course, yes, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Dr. Misalawa, are you there? I've been calling you several times I saw your hand up. Okay.
I am. Thank you very much. Mr. Mohammed Zahid, your presentation is just on time. The purpose of bringing you in at this point is just to talk more or enlighten people on the acceptable way of reporting our mining activities. From the beginning, that's from the exploration to exploitation, of which our dear President, Women in Mining, have just highlighted. We brought you in today because we've been talking about the mineral resources in Nigeria, the prosperity.
Sorry, is it just me or did she cut?
I think our network or something. We can't hear. I can't hear her either.
Oh,
Okay, we can hear you now. Yes.
hello?
Yeah, we can
Okay,
hear
ma'am.
you
Can
now.
you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Can
ma'am.
you
You're back.
hear me?
Yes, we can. We can.
Uh-huh.
We can
So,
hear you.
into
We lost you
our
again.
reporting system, what are the equipment to be used for acceptable reporting system? And this is what you have highlighted today. And we are now drawing attention of our ASM and small-scale miners into this. And let's have insight into what we use to report our activities so that it can be transparently accepted. The issue of AMREC is coming to be. And by the time it will now be on board, we must put together all it takes for us to reach the agreement level of AMREC as it could be proposed later. Thank you very much. We appreciate your presentation, and we wish to call you from time to time to give us more insight into all those equipment you have, especially the one that will help us to arrive at our prospects area fast than expected to save cost and time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your kind words. And it was a pleasure to speak with all of you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. I think you can see that from the aspect of every contribution here, you would see that we are still very much interested in prospectivity stage. So solutions that has to do with prospective, which you actually identified, we actually growing in terms of mining and all that. Like you can count how many mines that are actually stable here. In terms of gold, you talk about the Segilola and all that are actually coming up. You know, so the mechanized mining, mechanized mining is still on the way, you know, coming. So at this stage, more of prospectivity tools and solutions will actually be required and needed immensely in Nigeria. So from time to time, I know after this, a lot of people will be making some inquiries and all that, especially when this video is actually uploaded. Sometimes a lot of people that watch the video that come after are much more bigger than people that actually presently when the presentation is ongoing. So I think it's something you need to start also.
Hello, Michelle, how are you?
Okay. So please, I thank you for today's presentation, being around. I don't know if we are still having any other hands, but if not, I think it's high time we have to call it a week for today. Is there any other person?
Yeah.
Okay, please, who is talking?
That's just Kaya.
Okay, I can't see your hands up anywhere. So you just Kaya. Okay, you can go on, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Mohammed, I have something to ask we that are in the mining sector. And our interest is how fast and cost effective it can be for our sites. Like if I give the location of my license now, can this application give me the detail of the reserve and the possible identification of minerals in that area?
So what type of data do you have?
None yet.
Okay, so the thing is that, and this applies to any mining software, you would need some initial data to get started with, mainly your borehole data. So to get this data, you have essentially the way it works is that you have a drill machine, a drill log, where you will extract core samples from the earth that will get sent to the lab and they will assay it. They will determine the average grade present in each one of the samples. And then they will log this information in a database or in a CSV file or an Excel sheet. And then you use this data to then assess the reserves and use geological methods and create block models that will allow you to essentially calculate the total tonnage that you have.
Okay, Jessica, thank you for that question. I know you are clear with what he's saying. Before you
Yes.
talk about anything on the license, on your license, there should be
No,
an input. There should be
yes,
an input data. You
Yes,
say you don't
sorry,
have none, you don't have any data.
sorry, I didn't join the program from the beginning.
Okay, okay.
So I needed to know if it's a total geophysics or once what data is acquired, then you take it for interpretation.
Yes, any software uses input and output. If you don't have input, don't expect output. So there must be data. It's not magic. You know. So I think before we forget,
Hello.
I think Jessica, are you saying something?
No, go ahead.
Okay, Mohammed,
No,
please.
it's
Before
somebody new.
So who is talking, please?
Sorry, my name is Lukman Taka. And so what I just want to make a statement about.
Okay.
And before I do that, I want to thank you, Gillian, for organizing the platform. I think it's very timely and it's very resourceful. And I also thank Mohammed for really fantastic presentation. I think, which is also very timely to be able to expedite the process for Nigeria to get well educated and well suited. But the statement that I'd like to make really is I represent organizations that look at potential investment in wealthy country like Nigeria, and to be able to invest in the vast wealth, the capital, the human capital, the resources, and perhaps to be able to set the foundation for the prevailing generation to come. And how do you do that? It's not possible to do it quick. It's not possible to do it fast. So there's a lot of process in a learning curve, and usually software and data orchestration help with that. So what I'm saying is we will be interested in working with the Emirate organization, which is the organization that's also on here. And they made our Madam, the president, made a very valid point, how to take a technology like this and build an institution around it that can really teach people how to understand their worth and how to be patriotic in knowing the value of what's in ground. That's the first step, So a lot of the emphasis should be really placed on learning this technology, which means there's got to be an investment and a partnership that will come from an institution, from the women institutions that's on call, with yourself, Gillian, and Promine. There's got to be that initial partnership, formulated initially, so there can be a one directional information, that you have one institution, one pipeline to be able to disseminate the knowledge behind how to use this information effectively, and then creating policies around it to where Nigeria truly get the value of their self-worth, of the country's worth, and their national treasure. So it's not, we don't want a situation where it's a sales pitch, and everybody is running up and down, protecting only about their own asset. You know, so what I'm saying is, if there's a way for us to, you know, really architect a really good plan, bringing the right investment together, bringing the right educational platform together, and then engaging the mining sector and the people within the mining sector to truly learn about this information before it gets disseminated. That's all I have to say. I appreciate everybody's time, and I look forward to working with you, Gillian. I look forward to working with the organization, perhaps also possibly the government of Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Please, I would like to have your contact on the chat session.
Sure.
What you just said is the key, because I just got to the summary of what you are saying is there should be a synergy, a partnership. Just like what we are saying, if there is no knowledge of this, you can't use it anywhere. A partnership among the stakeholders, bringing in schools together, bringing one of the mines, like that's actually what I'm saying. If you want to create a pilot scheme here, there should be a mine, existing mine with all the data required. There should be a school. There should be stakeholders in the industry, like women in mining and other ones that are actually available. There should be, you know, that synergy for us to understand this. And if you look at the chat section, very interestingly, Olushola said something here. He said computerization and digitization is key to formalization and sustainable future in mining. So use of such mining software like Promine will give women more opportunities in the sector. So this is key, you understand? So I think it's a very, we appreciate your comments, and thank you for having you today on this platform.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So please drop your contact and every other thing. We will disseminate the link at the end of the day. Mohammed, please, you are here with us, right?
Yes, I'm still here. Yes.
I hope you are seeing our ideas and how we're actually trying to how these things going to work, and for your own benefit and for our own benefit. And someone else is asking question here. Mitchell is saying, where has this been? Is there any mine this has been used? But I think there should be. Maybe you can call 2 or 3 for us. Then another thing before we go, because we just have less than 13 minutes to go. We have about 13 minutes here now. So I wanted to show, I talked about an interface of the application. Is that possible? Before we leave the platform?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'll try to make it, because I know we have to go soon, so I'll make it very short.
So we don't have much time. We'll just have 11 minutes. We must go here in the next. So what I wanted to do is, I will give you, you can actually, okay, so, okay, your screen is here, is up here now.
Yes, correct. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, you can see it now.
Yeah, very well. So, sorry if okay, can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, excellent. So as you can see here, this is the interface of AutoCAD. So this is what I was talking about. AutoCAD is the CAD platform in which Promine operates. So this is the normal AutoCAD platform. I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with it. And then Promine comes in here. We have Essentials, which is the project management category, modeling for 3D modeling here. So you can have things like the 3D drift, 3D bench, surfaces from survey data. We have Engineering 1, where you have drill blast underground, drift design, raise design, stope design, mine planning, survey. Engineering 2, you have drill and blast surface here. So for all of you who are working in surface mines and you need a drill and blast design software, Promine is very good for that as well. Live survey, and this is the underground, the Leica instrument compatibility with Promine. So this is where you connect with Bluetooth, and then you can essentially put your instrument and create a resection, then start to get point data in real time. And then finally, ProGeox, and I think this is what everyone here is most interested in. And this is what I was talking about here. So diamond drill holes is the first step usually in mining here. This is where you will connect to a database. So if I can show you a very quick example, I'm going to go to my options here, and I can actually open very quickly my here. I'm going to show you a very quick database here. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Demo, yeah, let me go for demo surface. Okay, I'm going to, let me just here. I'm going to share my screen instead. I think it's better. So this is an example of a database. This is what I was talking about here. Usually what happens is that geologists will gather assay data like this one. So we have here multiple boreholes with east, north, elevation, length, azimuth, dip. So geologists are very familiar with this. And then you would have assays, which then your samples will get sent to the lab, and they will essentially conduct an analysis on each one of the boreholes. So here, for example, let's say for this drill, the first drill hole here has 2 samples, one from this length to that length. You have this much gold, this much copper. But if you scroll down, you can see that you can find a little bit of gold here, a little bit here, a little bit of copper too as well. And you will have this kind of data. Once you have this kind of data, this is where you will connect it with Promine. And in diamond drill holes, you will essentially connect this database. I'm sorry, this is in French, but it's actually available to you. I just forgot to change the language before. Sorry about that. So for example, here I have a surface mine where I'm going to import my drill hole data. So here, for example, this is where I will connect my surface database. So using all these fields here, I'm going to connect to my database and essentially import my boreholes like this. Okay. So once I'm connected to the database, I can go insert holes, and I can say all, hit OK. And I'm going to get a message saying that 186 out of 186 holes were imported. And this is what they look like. So you want to be able to model something like this. And this is the first step in exploration. Each one of these lines are a borehole. And essentially with Promine, what you can do on top of that is that you can annotate these holes, right? So here I have the annotation configured. And what I can do basically is that I can say, I want to annotate this hole, these holes, for example. I'm just choosing a few at random. And it will basically display the information here. So as you can see, my samples here include, for example, 0.7% copper. Here I have 2.5% of copper. And this is the information you will need to show investors, or in general, to do your ore body resource modeling. You need to do something like this. You need to be able to annotate the holes, and Promine is very good at that. It's especially for someone who's still starting out and wants something quick to estimate their resources. Promine is the perfect solution, very easy to learn and use, and very cost effective as well. And as you can see, for other holes too, we have different annotations here as well. And on top of that, of course, you can create composites, block modeling, which can be a bit more sophisticated, but due to time constraints, I think I'm gonna pass the parole back to Mr. Nwafor. Oh, Mr. Nwafor is back. So okay, there's a question here. How economically applicable is the software package to a small scale in the real artisanal project? So if you're doing an artisanal project, it doesn't matter the way of exploration done. The most important thing that you need is your data collection. How are you getting the samples assayed to the lab? And is actually the cheapest thing you can find on the market for small scale. So you won't find a better price than Promine. Yes, you can determine you can do actually resource estimation. So this is when you after importing your drill hole data, you can actually create you can perform geostatistics to determine, you know, the best angle of modeling your block models. And on top of that, you can actually perform resource estimation to determine the, you know, the inferred the 3 classification systems actually out there. So yes, that is possible with Promine. And
Okay.
Mr. Nwafar, I'm gonna give it back to you.
Thank you very much. I think this juncture we're gonna call it a day. The last question Okoto asked has been answered. He said, "Can we determine the estimate of reserve using this?"
Yes, I just
answered
answered that question. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I think that is nice one actually having you on the platform today. For some of us that actually have some questions, we have even chat can actually continue after because of the new update on Zoom. Now you can even chat after this, and you can ask any of your questions. You can join
Very well.
You can continue the chat. So even without this, so we can always answer your question, and we can reach out to you at any time. Mohammed, you have to keep everything to reach you open. I think from now
Yes,
we have a lot to be having a lot to do. Even this synergy and collaborations, we actually need to see how we're going to bring it together for it to work, because actually we are still in the greenfield in Nigeria. So if you can take advantage of that and consolidate, I don't think that will be a very bad idea in the next few years for Promine.
Yeah,
so with this, I will need to okay, Madam, do you want to say any vote of thanks before we go? We just have a minute. So maybe 30 seconds will be good for you. Is that?
Okay, thank you very much, Mohammed. We're
thanks to you as well.
We're all together and we're working together. And together we shall take the greenfield to the brownfield in no time.
Excellent.
Because
yes.
Once we know what we are to do and we know how to go about it, the timeline will be reduced as well as the cost. And we have a reliable database to work with. Thank you very much, because this is what we are all for in Iamesep. We want to take you to the field, not just remaining in the classroom. And all we need to do is to practicalize whatever we have been taught in the class, bring it to the field, just as the previous science speakers have said. Thank you very much. Need to do more of this, and we continue to bring you latest technology as well as equipment to be of use to us in the field. I appreciate you all. I appreciate the professors on this platform today, my women in mining, despite the whole time that you will still use this precious time to be with us. We appreciate you. You are really one of the women of substance we have in the mineral sector. So Mrs. Laneyi, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Every other person, I appreciate you all. Together we shall build Nigeria in the mineral sector. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. Thank you for that wonderful word of thanks. I think here we're going to draw a curtain on today's edition of this. Please, I want us to keep a date with us. For the next edition, we'll be talking more on this. Last Monday of every month, Iamesep is here to present and bring to you some solutions and technology that actually the main thing or the front burners of mining sectors in Nigeria. Our initiative for advancement of mining, earth sciences, and environmental protection is Iamesep. So I thank every one of us. So if you have more comments and every other thing, please, the chat can actually continue. You can send in and everything. Then also your emails, please, you can actually leave it, your phone numbers, anything you want to get to us. You can also visit our website, www.iamesep.com for more inquiries. So have a blissful and a very a wonderful day ahead of you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Goodbye.